Welcome to In the Room, where we explore the elusive world of casting for film, TV, and commercials. Join us as we interview directors, writers, producers, and actors, taking a deep dive into their experiences with casting and how the ultimate decisions are made in bringing a story to the screen. Get an inside look at casting and find out what really goes on in the room.
Down here we've got research and development, which is... Hey, what are you guys doing?
Nothing.
Carry on. Do my best, guys. Here at US Allied Nothing, we manufacture and distribute nothing. In fact, we've been doing nothing but, since 1947. We're just excited to be the exclusive nothing provider for Tropicana orange juice. They've been adding nothing to their juice forever. Can't say that about some other juices. This here's Dolores. She's been helping us do nothing for 36 years now.
36 years.
It's people like her, these good-for-nothing people that make us proud.
So today's hat is brought to you by me. It's in honor of Richie's character arc in The Bear. And that amazing line, I wear suits now. I'm hoping to experience an arc like that myself.
That was an audition, I think, for The Bear.
That was me auditioning for The Bear.
I'd put you in the yes pile.
You would? Okay, thank you. Well, today, actually, we're in the room with Chris Smith. He is a veteran commercial director, renowned for his remarkable skill in the art of crafting captivating advertising spots.
Oh, Lord.
Just indoor. You can do it.
Okay.
As the commercial...
He threw up a little bit in his mouth.
Here we go.
So pretentious. Who wrote this?
This
is ChatGPT wrote this.
Totally.
Here we go.
Just don't use the word filmmaker, but continue.
Okay. As the commercial director at Sugar Films, Chris has established himself as a leading figure in the industry, consistently delivering exceptional work that resonates with audiences and leaves a lasting impact.
If you could just do this, why are we?
Oh my God, the L7.
Yeah.
I've been impacted. Now, what sets Chris apart?
This is all new to me, but
are you ready?
Keep going, yeah.
Is his unparalleled ability to build strong connections with both agencies and clients. His natural rapport building talents, combined with his unwavering passion for the creative process, have paved the way for a career marked by repeat collaborations and satisfied partners.
Satisfied partners. I'll have to ask my wife about that.
Okay, yeah. His clients trust him not only for his impeccable track record, but also for his genuine dedication to turning every project into a work of art. He's also known for his insatiable love of tacos.
That part's true. Finally.
I knew we'd get somewhere.
Finally, we get to the true part.
I know you don't want to agree with that just because you're humble, but all that is true.
I think so.
All that is true. From what I've seen from my 30 plus years hanging out with you.
That's right.
Yeah.
Seems like yesterday I walked into Gabrielle Sherry's casting in Santa Monica, saw this sweet little boy
Aww.
on the camera.
I actually do. Like I was watching a bunch of your commercials the other night, and they really are beautiful, pretty little works of art.
Well, you've been in 2 of them, 3 of them. Those are the beautiful ones.
No. I mean, I'm serious. I think I should be able to recognize one of your commercials when they come on. And I feel like I do, actually. You just, I don't know. You have something that's just a touch different. Like,
oh, that's sweet.
Yeah.
It's the love of tacos.
I think it is tacos. So how did you get here? Let's just talk a little bit about how
from the 2222 to Koenig,
and then you took
from
Lamar
DJing.
Yeah.
From the local news.
Really?
Oh,
local
career path.
Yeah, your career path.
So you're born in a hospital.
Yeah.
And then what happens?
This is, I don't know, directing's my 3rd career, I think. Let's see what I do. Out of school, I was recording engineer. So I worked in studios in Houston in the early 90s.
That's because your dad, right?
No, this is before that.
Okay.
This is like recording studio stuff that I just got into. And because I knew how to use computers in the early 90s, they signed me to a lot of the rap projects. And so I got to work on like all these legendary bands like UGK.
Let's
Seriously?
let's go into some Houston rap history.
Oh no,
Yeah.
I don't want
Let's
to go
talk
deep.
about it.
No, I mean, I'm this kid. I'm 18, working in a studio, and these, dudes, Bun B and all them come in, and I've never heard of them. I'm fresh out of the audio school at the community college,
This is amazing.
and I'm the kid. Hey, this kid knows how to use the computers and the drum machine. So, and so there's me and all these like legendary, rap groups that blew up later in the day, and I'm like, oh, I worked on that. So that was cool. But
Did Ghetto Boys come through?
yeah, they had their own
Did they?
studio for Rap a Lot, but every time they're busy or they need overflow, they would like sniff around at different studios. So they would come around our
Dude,
place.
I
on
could
occasion.
do 2 hours on probably that alone.
Yeah,
But we'll keep going.
totally. Let's see. So I did recording studio, and then my pops has been in news since like ye olden times, right? And so he used to be local news reporter, as he says in his younger, thinner days. Then in the early 80s, he became like a network photographer and editor, so he'd be with any of the 3 major networks of the 80s, NBC, CBS, ABC. And so we did that. And then in the mid 90s, he's like, hey, if you ever want to do sound for me, it's not as creative. You only have 3 channels of people talking. It's not like music, but I can make you a lot more money. And I was like, sure, let's do it. So I moved to Dallas, and then he got me into that. So I did network news for 6-ish years. And during that time, I decided like an idiot that I wanted to try doing a feature film from scratch, having never done anything in film ever.
Dun, dun, dun.
I mean, you watched the film, so I mean, how hard can it be?
how
right?
hard can it be? So me and a friend decided, well, we were going to do a short film, like a little David Mamet short film at first. And I was like, I don't know who David
I think
Mamet
you
is.
picked David Mamet.
Yeah.
To make a short
Well,
film out of a David Mamet.
Well, he did. He's a true thespian.
Oh,
Okay,
okay. Yeah,
okay.
okay.
Like,
Okay.
I'm sitting here watching Michael Bay's Armageddon and explosions, and he's talking about like the motivation and all this deep actory thespian stuff. And I'm like, cool, man. Yeah, I'll tell you what, this summer you come into town, and I'll figure out the camera stuff, and you figure out the actory stuff, and we'll do a short film. And then in that time, I read Robert Rodriguez's Rebel Without a Crew.
Yeah.
And like, it totally struck me. I was like, man, fuck the industry. I'm doing this my way. And so I scrounged up some bucks like he did and talked everybody into doing a feature, got actors who wanted to work on it for free. And
Do you have a script?
ish, kind of winged it as we went. And then, I just learned the old fashioned way, sitting in bookstop every day, reading books on cinematography, acting, directing, editing, et cetera, et cetera.
And no real camera experience before that.
Kind of. When you're a sound man in network news, you help the cameraman light everything. Right. And so, like, I practiced on that. Granted, it's like, live shots for MSNBC or whatever, but, I was always like trying to be like, the cameramen are just like, man, stick a fucking leg it up and let's go eat lunch, and I'm all into, well, let's do a diffuse here and like an edge. And I was like really getting into it. And then they loved it because they're like, cool, I'll just sit back and drink my coffee and let the kid do it.
Yeah.
But it was good practice for me. So.
But that's also to acknowledge something that is stayed with you, is that you have had the ability to get a subject, learn everything about it, teach yourself, and then become very proficient in it. I've noticed over the years.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're born. I'm not no Amadeus of film. It's just, it was just,
I beg to differ.
yeah.
Please.
Mammoth.
Yeah.
David Mammoth.
I'm calling you that from now on.
It's just perseverance and curiosity, and a little bit of that, I'm going to beat the odds. And I'll be honest, what really pushed me to get through it is when I was first telling people, I'm going to commit to it. I'm going to do a feature film on Super 16. It'll be great. One of my friends told these 2 guys that were already kind of directing some stuff. And I was like, don't tell anybody outside of our circle. I don't want to, hear it. And these 2 guys heard about it and busted my balls. They were like gatekeeping hard. They're like, well, what have you ever done?
Oh, shit.
Nothing. Well, who's your DP? Me. Have you ever used a film camera? I was like, no. Do you know how to use a light meter? Yeah, I'm learning. And they're like, hey, man, I hate to tell you, bro, it's going to suck.
Oh, no.
It's going to suck.
Yeah.
And throughout the shooting of all summer of 98, it's hot. There was cricket infestation in Dallas that year. And whenever I wanted to quit, and I would talk to Kahan, who I did the movie with, and every time I was like, dude, what if we just quit now and made it a short film? He knew, like, I was like Michael J. Fox in Back to the Future. Like, every time you called him chicken, he like got new energy. Like, he'd be like, all right, man, I guess those 2 guys are right.
Yes.
And I'd pop back up. It's 2 a.m. I'm tired as shit. I'm worn out. I've barely eaten because I can't afford food. And I'm just like, let's go fucking shoot this movie.
Yes. This is why adversity and struggle is good.
Yeah, but it was the torture, getting back to your original point, the torture of doing the movie, shooting scenes. Some worked, and I was pleasantly surprised, and some were horrible. And it's a matter of having the humility to have the film transferred, put it in your edit system, and go, that was trash. That was self-absorbed garbage. But then you learn from it, and then you rewrite the scene, and then you see how many film rolls you have left that you bartered with Kodak about.
Yeah.
And then you're like, well, I'm rewriting this whole thing because I realize there's a bunch of inside jokes no one cares about. And that's where you learn what really film's about, being telling a selfless story to entertain people, not to show off some inside bullshit that you're into, So it's that hard lesson where you had to pay. And it was just doing a movie for 2 years, shooting, reshooting. We had no crew. It was me and some stoner kid I found at Mars Music were the crew. He would hold the microphone. He'd help me set up lights, and that was it. And I had an Aton camera that was kind of broken. I had to kind of lightly bang on the ground to get the motor to work again. And we shot a whole movie, feature film from scratch.
You also have to say, you kids today have it so easy.
Totally.
Oh my God.
I'm glad it came up in film. It would bum me out if it was as easy as, shit, our iPhones shoot as good as a 16 camera.
But also, don't you kind of want to go back to that feeling sometimes?
The feeling or the process?
I mean, I don't think you get the feeling without the process being that struggle.
Okay.
And I'm not saying you want to do that all the time, but that beginning essence of I
don't want to do it for realsies, but I miss the romance of it.
Yeah.
I miss that when I'm sitting there shooting and I can lightly hear that little, which sounds like, the money.
Yeah.
And you're, and it's that little purr, the kitten purr on your shoulder while you're shooting a scene, hoping the actors can nail it in 2 takes because you can't afford anymore. And I also miss when I got into commercials. In the first 10 years I did commercials was all 35 millimeter, and I miss on set you have the tap of and it looked horrible, looked like a 1980s security camera quality. It was terrible, but you had a vague idea mostly from looking through the optics. But especially if we did dailies in town, I could go home, take a shower, put on my PJs, and then go over to Film Workers or Video Post or whatever, 2 a.m. that comes out of the lab, and to sit down and grab a beer, and it felt like Christmas, see what you got.
Yeah.
And that was kind of fun. I look fondly. I don't want to do it anymore. I'm now happy as a clam looking at the monitor live going, looks great, moving on.
Yeah. But I mean, I think all art is like that. You got to get the shit out first, so it's not like any of it was a mistake.
I feel like being in the film era, other than the romance, is I think anybody who started in film and then moved into digital stuff it probably trains you completely different. I hear from editors and stuff that my ratios of what they can use versus how much I shot is really high, and I think I still have that from my indie film days where everything is thought about. I don't do the thing where I have 50 cameras and shoot everything, let an editor find the nuggets, I even in kind of visual stuff where you're finding things, I still already pretty much mapped out everything I'm doing and what I'm doing in advance. So there's very little slop. And I think I got that from coming from film.
Mm-hmm.
And also that film, though, did well. I mean, it was well received.
Premiered at Sundance?
So what's funny is after finishing, it took me 2 years of editing and reshooting and re-editing.
So
and
doing all that stuff. Total cycle or 2 years?
2 year total. Well, I shot it all summer 98, and then in the year 2000, we were done. Kayan and I were done with it, and we showed it in a small theater for friends, where we felt like
we did it.
It's done.
Yeah,
we did it.
Fuck you guys. We did it.
Yeah, we did it. To be fair, wrapping up those 2 guys.
Were they there?
They came, and they were cool as shit.
Get it?
And they actually remembered me. I didn't be like, "Hey, you're my inspiration for 2 years because you're dicks." But
yeah.
I didn't say that.
This movie's dedicated to you.
Being an asshole.
No, on their own. I did tell my friend who knew them. I was like, "Hey, make sure they come around, check it out." They showed up, and they were cool as shit. They were like, "Man, I remember having this conversation. Dude, you beat the odds." And one of the guys you got to admit, statistically, I was correct. And I was like, "Yeah, probably." Yeah. He goes, "Dude, you beat the odds." So congrats.
I mean, that's how I feel about most people that finish a film. I'm like, dude, you did it. That's amazing.
So it was huge, but when I was done, I realized I hate making movies. Like I hate long form. I hate everything about it. It felt like I was in jail for 2 years, you know? And, you know, when you're just like, it's that albatross, you know, and every time you want to quit, you're like, I can't. The amount of shit we've been through, the amount that actors have given their time. And I point at Heather when I say actor. I know you used to, but this is who I think of as.
Yes, she's definitely.
This
I'm
is
an actor.
This is a true thespian, right?
I was just a money grabber.
There you go. Hey, you got to have both.
We did skip our introductions.
That's all right.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Everybody
Actor,
knows who we are now.
Heather, actor. John Money Grabber.
Money grabber. Yeah.
What was I complaining about? Oh, yeah. So anyways, we did the movie. I was sick of it. And I thought, hey, why don't I just not do anything with it and call it film school? But I felt like I at least owe it to do something. The actors put the work in, blah, blah, blah. And then my roommate at the time, who's Tony McGleany, who's the executive producer of Sugar, he was my roommate at the time. And I was like, hey, let's get into commercials because they have like 2 or 3 week turnarounds, which is my attention span. And I think there's some money in it. So
what was Sugar doing?
We were nothing.
Yeah, it was just him and
It was
Tony.
just-
They were roommates.
Oh.
Well, it didn't exist yet because
Yeah.
Tony and I had worked for a different company for a year
I see.
until we decided to do our own thing. And it wasn't even called Sugar.
And Tony had no
Oh,
background in it, did he?
No, other than he dated a girl who worked for a film
This is
company.
how it works.
Yeah, which is how I got into it.
That's
Because,
exactly how it works. It's always a girl.
yeah. Well, it's funny because I was just wrapping up the movie. I was like, that sucked. But here I'm fully trained on how to direct and DP and edit and all these things, but I don't know what to do with it. And I was still picking up news jobs to survive. And I went with Tony to his girlfriend's job one day on set where there was a commercial director. And, you know, I've been sitting here starving and begging for cash and all this stuff. And I go to the commercial set and the director shows up in a Porsche and, you know, and shoots for like 20 minutes and everybody hands him coffee and shit. And then he gets in his Porsche and leaves. And I looked at Tony. I was like, we're doing what that dude does.
I think I decided just right now that I want to do it too.
Yeah.
Will you train me?
Yeah.
Can I apprentice for you?
You can, yeah, of course.
I would like to transition into commercial directing.
Fine, take my place.
Yeah. Yeah.
Anyways, that was 23 years ago,
Wow.
which seems like 2 jobs ago. But that's the long, boring story.
Did
Yeah.
anybody come to you at that point and say to you and Tony, you guys can't do this?
No, because, you know, everybody who's into directing is into short films or features or something. Like almost nobody cares about commercials, you know?
Right.
Like commercials are, you know, we're the cockroaches of the film industry. Like we make the
Which
thing
is
that no one
crazy,
wants to
but we
watch.
pay the commercials and advertising pay for it all.
Of course.
Pay for it all.
Yeah.
And no one understands that like that's where all the money comes from.
Yeah,
For the movies, for the TV, for everything.
For everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, my kid will watch YouTube and he's trying to show me a video about Minecraft and then an ad comes on. He's like, stupid ads. I was like, I paid for that iPad in the room you're in.
Yeah.
I was about to say.
Yeah.
But it allows for you to watch this platform for free that you
Right.
love.
Yeah.
You know?
So yeah, that's when I realized Tony and I were born commercial people and have no interest in long form. It's I hear that like the cliche out there is like most commercial directors haven't really done a long form yet, and that's the dream. They're just doing commercials till they get their
Yes.
script going and
Yeah,
all that.
yeah.
And I'm the opposite. I did the long form first, and I'm like, fuck that.
Yeah.
I love me some commercials.
Yeah.
You know,
So
I got all the artistic expression out of my system.
I know.
first.
I'm starting to love them too. I was a big, like, you know, first of all, I was raised in 1970s films. And so I very much wanted to be a major film actress and still do. But I was not interested in television at all growing up. And then television became a different entity, like now.
You
where
didn't want to be on Facts of
I
Life.
didn't want to
Different
be
strokes.
on Falcon Crest or whatever was
Oh
going
yeah,
on. You
that
know,
was a good Knots Landing.
yeah. I didn't really want to do any
For
of that
most
stuff.
of our audience, you'll have to Google all those
All
shows.
those things.
Yeah.
We're old. No, but I didn't want to do any of that, and we didn't want to do like a 3-camera live comedy kind of thing.
Right.
And then I certainly didn't ever want to do commercials.
Mm-hmm.
Ugh.
I will do commercials all day long
Yeah.
if you're hiring. I am so like okay with it. And I think it happens to a lot of actors as we get older. I think that's why you start to see, you know, Ed Brimley or whoever out there is like, buy gold or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like, it's a nice, comfy gig.
diabetes.
Yeah, the diabetes.
diabetes.
The diabetes. You're still like, you know, you're still the actor on set, but it's like a nice, I don't have to turn myself inside out and shave eyebrows and do stupid, like just depth, soul destroying shit.
Yeah.
I can just.
What's funny is there's so many talented actors that are so capable far more than what we ask in commercials, you know, because commercials at the end of the day are more characterization than building a character.
Yeah.
Meaning she looks like a mom instantly. That looks like a dad instantly. You know, that's what commercials, it's not like real stories where characters created, where what choices of action they make under duress.
Yeah.
You know, when you have long form. And in commercials, it's just like, you know, well, put on a cowboy hat. He's a cowboy, you know?
Yeah.
So I almost feel
fun. But if it does, it feels like a spa day.
I mean, but it's more difficult because you've explained this great, and I'll let you do it. But we're purchasing your humanity, and we want 2 seconds of it, and it has to be impactful.
It's differently difficult.
Yeah,
for sure.
I mean, I think the way you put it, which was best, was like, I need a moment in a larger story, and maybe you can talk into that.
Oh, yeah. Oh, that's from the one bio somebody.
No, that's from In the Room with you. Yeah.
Oh, I've said that?
Yeah.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, you were deep that day.
Hell yeah. Probably had more coffee. Yeah, it's like, you know, because I did my feature film commercials, what I liked is like, cool. Each commercial is like one scene. It has one point to get across, one value that you need to change in the audience's mind, and just focus on that. And then 3 weeks later, you walk away and go to another one, you know?
Yeah.
And that's what I loved about commercials. So that's how I find the art in it, you know? Because in any scene in a long form, a scene should be cut out if there's no like distinct value that needs to happen in the mind of the audience, right? And so obviously the agency, as they're writing it, they're trying to do that. The client wants that value, which is some association to their brand or product or service. And to me, that's the goal. You know, I'm not into all the pizzazz of it. If you look at my film, I try to think that you could use any of my commercials from even 15 years ago and they still look pretty modern. I don't get into all the crazy. I focus on what is the way to just tell the story, keep the film clean without many tricks and BS and trendy stuff, and just, you know, shoot a good story like you would do a good film. That being said, they're commercials, you know. I almost feel bad when I go to an actor, you know, who's really good, and I always like him self-deprecating, like, I'm gonna really use your full instrument today. Pick up that coffee and put it in the cabinet.
Sometimes though, that just feels really good.
Yeah,
you know, it gets exhausting. The other heavy lifting.
Sometimes it's really hard to find someone who can pick up that coffee and put it in the cabinet.
Yeah,
it is.
Right.
Like, I joke about how simple it is. I've done that thing where I'm just, you know, where you're just like, it's 2 a.m, you know, you're doing a night shoot, and all you just like, you know, pick up the coffee cup, you know, and they're like, just pick up the coffee cup.
Oh shit.
I was like, this is a commercial. Here's the tempo. You look at the coffee cup, you pick it up, you sip it. You look at the coffee cup, you pick it, you sip, you know, and they're like, all right, cool. Like, oh my God, dude.
Yeah. Yeah.
I won't do that to you.
Oh, now I'm like Lemmy with Motorhead.
I was about to say the Ace of Spades.
Yeah.
Ace of Spades. So, okay, let's talk about it for the folks at home
Some head
who
feel.
don't know. How does a commercial happen? Like where does it start? Who writes it from beginning? Let's lay it all out. Where does it begin?
I'm gonna guess based on what I hear, because when we're brought in, production company, it's fairly late in the game, right? The best analogy I use for people when they're like, well, what do you do? Do you write it and all that? My best analogy is how you would have a house built. You have the client, obviously, the people who want to build the house, and that would be our client. And then if you're building the house, you'd go to an architect, the people who are brilliant at understanding houses and design and listening to the client, and they work with the client forever until they have plans that are pretty rock solid. They're open to interpretation, but they generally have the CDs. They have a plan. And then they call the construction company, and that's us. And then I'm like the foreman of the construction company. And if you look on set, I mean, it looks like construction, except for there's a camera in there somewhere.
It's a mix between a carnival and a construction site.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, that's accurate. Yeah.
That's a great fucking description.
Yeah.
That's a great way to break it down.
So that's the explain it to grandma way. But yeah, I mean, an ad agency works with their client, and I don't know what the process is. I'm sure it's all of the above. I'm sure there's somewhere they write it the night before while they're drunk, and the client loves it immediately. And let's get it. Let's make a picture.
Yeah.
And then
sometimes it's 2 years of just repitching. And so I've talked to some creatives, and they're like, if I have to hear these words one more time.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And then by the time it gets to us, you can just feel the backstory and the thing sometimes. Sometimes it's...
like what those two entities have been
like
going
how
through?
long they've been through it. Because sometimes it's like, man, just whatever you got, man, let's hear it. Like I've been through the ringer. I need something new. I need something fresh. And then where I feel like maybe it's been in the loop for a while. And then there's others where, it's fresh out of the can and, everybody still has all that childhood excitement.
Right.
But I mean, that's half the job of the director is to hand it off to a new bundle of energy to take it as a surrogate and to love on it.
And then it gets handed down to us, right?
Hold on.
Okay. But
How do they
I have
choose-
something to say about
How do they
that.
choose you?
Bribes,
kickbacks,
Yeah.
and a 12-sided dice.
Okay.
Die. In the real world, the normal process, and I'm not saying it's always the normal process, but the normal process is they usually the agency producer has a bunch of reels or gets to know reps or whatever, has some idea of like the spread of directorial talent out there. And then when they see a script, they show their creatives, their writer and art director, a bunch of reels or whatever, and then they will narrow, almost like casting, they narrow it down to usually 3 as a bid mix, and then they reach out to see if they're available, interested, etc. And then we do the first creative calls, and it's kind of like a blind date. Used to be over a conference call, but now it's over Zoom, which is 1,000 times better.
Yeah, way better than conference
way
calls.
better.
But
And-
at this point too, he's with 2 other companies auditioning. He's put in a treatment. He's built a
Right.
vision.
That's
They've
what I
done
wanna
a
know.
bid.
So,
they
like,
put a
what-
ton of work in just on the hopes to have this conversation.
It's actor right here. Gets it. The audition process and all the work that goes into
thespian.
nothing.
A thespian.
So, do you know the concept? Like, let's take a commercial and break it down. So,
yeah, they give us the script.
so they've written the script.
Yeah, and they give you the current script. Not to say it won't change, because it always does, but they give you the script.
Well, they give it to you and they say, "Can you make this better?"
And so then what you're pitching to them is, well, why don't we? And then you have a vision for it, or
Yeah,
or you're
at the end of the day, a commercial director is just a transducer of ideas to the film medium.
that's it.
Did you read your bio?
Did you just transduce wrapped up like a dude?
Wrapped up, look. I think, it's up to every agency person. It's same as like,
Chris
what do you
is
look
a
for?
transducer.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yo.
give me one. Give me a commercial that you then pitch on.
Like any one of my commercials?
Yeah.
I don't even remember what I shot.
HEB. The HEB, that's one of the best ones, right? The HEB Super Bowl spot with the aliens, which is like...
I love that one.
Is such a
Okay,
great
so how
But
does
just
that
to be
start?
clear, I love all my commercials like my children.
You love them all
I
equally.
love them all
That's
equally.
because Chris is a transducer.
He's transduce.
Yeah.
He's
Transduce. Just transduce. Like the alien one?
Yeah, the alien one. So let's start there.
So that's
it
the
comes,
2012 HEB Super Bowl spot,
so it
which
comes
is one
to
of my
you.
favorite spots to shoot.
Yeah.
Because it's probably as close to how I would actually
Shout out
direct
Aaron
things.
Spivey.
I mean,
Shout out Johnny Mars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Aaron Spivey. That's where I fell in love with Aaron Spivey. Man, one of the best actors in Texas. Love that guy.
Agreed.
Okay. It's hard to remember back then. The late Brittany Surrett wrote that, and man, one of the most sweetest, most awesome ladies. So Brittany and Wendy wrote that for the Richards Group and their client HEB. And so when they passed it to me, we were in a bid mix with MJZ, one of the best production companies in the world. And I think MJZ, because it was like a huge deal, right? Our
Super
thing.
Bowl,
Yeah. And we were going to do a 60 with a 90-second version for web. And it's supposed to look like the trailer to like a massive Spielberg film.
Which it does.
It does.
Well, thank you.
In a world.
In a world
Yeah.
of HEB brand products. Here, everything's better.
Yeah.
Which it is. I love HEB.
I do too. I've
Love it.
done many an HEB.
What was I complaining? Oh yeah. So you get the script, And then so I was bidding against, I forgot who at MJZ, but probably somebody who's a hero of mine, because like every one of their directors is amazing and inspiration to me. So I'm sure I was, bidding against some guy I was like worshipped or whatever. I'm sure their ideas are amazing, but like their budgets were like, it was like a couple $1 million. And the HEB, the head of marketing basically said, yeah, I'm not paying more than $500,000 for this. Like just to, so we came in at, 490 or whatever.
Yeah, just right under.
So I said, look, here's the vision. It's late 70s Spielberg, it's Close Encounters of the Third Kind, just go big, and we're going to take every resource we can. And we're not going to do it the normal way where we all discuss what locations, whatever, like to do this all in 3 days to hit the budget, like you got to just trust me. So we searched all over Austin, San Antonio, and the towns in between, and just linked together things that we could shoot, like in the morning at an airplane hangar to look like a military base, and then run over to the power plant on East Austin to look like NASA mission control because they have all the doodads and shit, and then run to this country house to look like the aliens are invading their house, and linked it all together. And we shot almost
cornfields.
Yeah, cornfields in the middle of winter.
And then you also took off and did B-roll. Like you guys went all over Texas and did B-roll.
Yeah. So I do that a lot, especially now in the digital era where it's easier. Anytime that I feel like I can like sprinkle in the little sauce to the stuff that, when everybody's on set and the clients and the crew and all that, there's sometimes if you can just escape with an AC and an AD and a camera and go pick up a bunch of stuff. Like on that shoot, we shot all kinds of stuff. I just always kept an Alexa with us all the time, even when we weren't on the set. I remember in the middle of the night, we just went downtown while we were staying in San Antonio, and I had the DP pull out his phone and shoot the tower, Tower of Americas, and leaving some room in the sky. And I was like, cool, that'll be another shot of them trying to shoot the aliens in the sky. And they used it.
Yeah.
And so I just pick up these random shots of like just people around us, whatever, looking like they're all viewing. And it's that little sprinkles that just make it seem more rich,
and bigger scope. And none of that's on the page either. None of that's all his vision and all his.
What is on the page?
On that one, I don't remember. I mean, it depends. Like some scripts are really tight and I don't veer off of it a lot. I mean, to me, if it's tight, it's tight, and we stick to the plan. And obviously you need to promise a certain amount of things that the clients need, how and when are we going to see products in certain situations, right? And then sometimes I'm not adding things. I'm not creating things that weren't there before. You just add your little flavor. Every person, whatever they do, it's like your signature. No one's going to do it the same way. You ask 100 directors how they're going to shoot a guy grab a coffee. It's going to be 100 different ways some person grabs a coffee. What they think is the right speed, tempo, vibes, whatever. It just, you just add your little sauce on it. And no matter how much I promise through boards and stuff, I also reserve the right to improvise a little on set. It's like jazz. Sometimes you just don't know till you get there, Sometimes my favorite parts are the little things that you just kind of throw in.
I mean, that's the thing that, that one especially, I think went way beyond what it was on paper and became much better than what it was. But a lot of times what I was going to say is that when we get it.
Yeah.
They've hyped it up, right?
So you guys you're all attached.
Yeah, they're attached. They hyped it up. The agency thinks they have this amazing thing, right? And they give it, and then they come to us, and they're like, "We're making a Wes Anderson film," and you're like, "You're making a Subway commercial," and then they come in and they see the actors, and they're like, "I think that's the first time that rubber meets the road," and we really kind of see what. When you start watching those tapes, you kind of see what we have.
Yeah, that's why I miss the in-person callbacks.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the pandy that changed the game in ways that I like better.
The pandy. That's great.
I think that's what the kids call it.
The pandy? That's awesome.
It's the TikTok term.
That's awesome. I've never heard that.
I'm using that from now on. Pre-pandy, post-pandy.
Exactly. What was I complaining about?
In-person callback.
Yeah. Thank you. So like some things like using Zooms instead of the awkward audio conference call where you never know if anybody's listening, paying attention, you can't read face, whatever. Zooms have changed the game in a wonderful way. Wardrobe fittings are now just done by Dropbox, and it's no longer us all sitting in a room awkwardly staring at actors wearing something that looks horrible, and none of us wants to be the asshole to point it out.
Yeah,
Very Stevie Nicks Rumors album.
Yeah.
You know, like.
Does he have to have the belt?
Yeah. So now that's all just done by Dropbox. We
Yeah.
make it real easy. It's remote.
Yeah,
You know,
some of that
I see
shit's
live
great.
things and I make
Like,
notes, or I crop,
Meetings on Zoom
yeah,
are
I crop the
great.
top and the bottom, go mix these two. And,
Yeah.
But the part I don't
Auditions.
like is the callbacks are now virtual, which is hell on earth for me. But getting
Same.
back to Rubber Meets the Road, to me, callbacks weren't. Of course, we have to find the right thespian, right? That's the goal. But we're going to do that anyway. So to me, that part was great for me in the relationship with the agency, because up till then we had our creative call, which is before we're bid. So it's always this hypothetical thing, again, like a blind date where you're just feeling out vibes. And, you know, you like raspberry ice cream. I do too. You know, like, you know, you're feeling out, is there a thing here?
Right.
But then when you get to casting or callbacks, it's like, now it's brass tacks. Like, let's actually do real plans in real physical space with real molecules on a camera, and you stop talking about dreamy hypotheticals. And to me, callbacks was that time. We would all sitting on the couch. And then also the actors were like, it was like a test bed. It was a workshop. And then sometimes if we'd have like a really good real actor, you know, that was like really talented at what they did, they were malleable, they understand what you're saying, and they offer things that you didn't ask for, the things that directors try to do for their clients. I would keep them in, you know, I'd keep them in extra long, because it's not necessarily kicking their tires, it's kicking the tires of the script.
Yeah.
You know, like, because sometimes you like, especially if it's predicated on like line delivery, how is that timing going to be? Is the line funny? Is it funny if we tweak it or whatever? We'll sit and work with someone. And to me, it's not about that person. I probably love that person anyways. They're probably at the top of my yes pile. But it's for us to sit and go, does this thing work, or what works about it? And I miss that when we're looking at each other's eyes. And then when the actors go out and you have that, you know, minute while you guys are doing your thing in the lobby and getting them in, we sit and discuss stuff about the script or throw out ideas or have a rapport. And also, when I work with new agencies I've never met, that's almost always when I met them for the first time in person.
Yep.
And so now I don't have that, you know. So it's like weird when you don't know
But
them.
also, when you're working with people, sometimes it's like you're also sometimes trying to get them there too. Like they got an idea and they're not quite getting it, or I mean, there's a lot of variations in that. And some people think that, oh, it's great, I was in there for so long. It's like, it wasn't great.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like, yo, dude, they love you. They love you. They just couldn't. I mean, you did every idea that Chris brought and knocked it out of the park.
Or sometimes it's lunch and everyone in the back row is eating.
Or shopping.
And they've just brought the food and it's lunchtime and no one's paying attention to you but Chris.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Chris is like,
Yeah.
Chris is
see
like,
this?
I have to take like a 10-minute break to eat, because whenever they're like, you know, eat while we cut, I just can't.
Yeah.
It just feels like wrong.
Yeah.
it is wrong.
just feels,
I appreciate
it feels
that.
rude as
It's
shit.
very rude as shit, but you just come to expect it. It's like half of the people in the back row, you know they're important, but they're not watching anyway. They're just sitting on their laptop.
No, Chris is like Gary Oldman in True Romance.
And he is like on his feet, just fucking
Yeah.
working it, you know, and they're all just back there on their laptops or on their phone, not even looking at you, paying attention. And
You know
so
what
you're a
though?
little bit like, why
I
are
don't
we
mind
here?
that, because it shows a level of trust. You know what I mean?
I don't mind it anymore either, because I'm like, I don't give a fuck. I'm just going to talk to you. Like, I just want to, like,
Yeah,
I'm
I
just going
mean,
to work with you anyway.
yeah.
So, like, whatever they need or want, they're going to funnel it through you anyway. So,
yeah, generally speaking, the people that's usually on the front couch areas, which is usually the director, the writer, and the art director, they're the ones paying attention.
yeah.
Or if the art director has been like saddled with like a billion comps they got to do for a client, they'll like half in, half out, because they have like 82
Producers are in the
Photoshop
back.
things they
Yeah.
gotta do.
Producers are in the back.
yeah.
Creatives are in the front.
And they're also usually like come from a like very non-creative world.
Well,
Would
they're
you say?
there to support and to be the.
They're creative in their own way.
Well, I mean, like from our creative world.
Yeah.
Like,
No, they're the creative ones that stretch the dollar to give the client the most impact,
yeah.
and the times and all that
It's
stuff.
not an easy job.
It is not an
Not
easy
easy.
job.
No.
But it's like, it's not their job to really give a
Nor
shit
their place,
about-
really.
Yeah.
To offer
Yeah.
creative ideas.
They're busy doing contracts and flights and all that shit.
Yeah.
So,
Or looking at handbags. I'm just saying. Sometimes
It's just usually in the film world, those people aren't in your audition. They're
and some. I
the
mean,
people who are like managing flights and doing
no,
things like
but your
that, like,
producers are. I mean, sometimes.
Yeah, but they're usually paying.
No, yeah, they're not actually in. Yeah, you're right. In film, it's usually just the director and the AD and me.
Yeah.
When you say film, like real film,
like a theatrical casting, as opposed to a commercial casting, which it's a totally different.
Yeah, that's
totally
where the
different.
director has some control over.
I mean, we still there's still an approval process. There's still there's still a someone has to usually say yes.
Yeah, I mean, whoever's paying for it has the last word. It's just the way it is across the board
in life.
But does it seem like it? Does it?
Everybody has a boss.
Does it seem though like it's harder in the commercial world to please everybody in this one moment of making this spot?
I would say that some people get pushed aside because someone looks up for a second and says, I don't know about them. And then it's like, everyone's like, okay, well, it's not worth the fight, But Chris will go to the mat for people, and he has to, he has to, at the end of the day, he has to go to the mat to say who he thinks would be, my favorite line of Chris's is when he talks to agency and he says, if I was to direct this commercial. and then they go, but
yeah.
No. I like how you know all of my smart ass shit that I don't even remember. If I was directing, this is what I would do.
Yeah.
But
and you're like, yeah, that's a good, I understand. I see that, but
I mean, the thing with commercials, this, they're so thought about. It's not like every choice we make is an artistic choice about the storytelling. I mean, there's so much. Commercials, obviously, at the end of the day, are about ROI for a client.
Let's talk about that, because how much money.
Tell the people what that means.
How much pressure is on the green. We should use the green one, because the green one, the focus groups and the studies say that.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you're going to sign up to be a commercial director, you have to respect that. You can't be, the auteur that, I don't care about stats and focus group, well, then don't direct commercials,
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what it's about. And if a good director shouldn't fight between art and commerce, they should figure out how to make art and commerce intertwine in a beautiful dance. Do you know what I mean? That's the goal of a good commercial.
I feel like you do that, actually. When I look back at your commercials, I'm like, it feels like you hit that spot perfectly.
Oh, thank you.
I'm serious.
Sears. I was trying to find the Sears, not the one with the refrigerator, but the one where the what's her name is the record player.
Oh yeah.
That's my favorite.
I didn't see that one.
And then we had Wendell.
Yeah.
What's Wendell's last name?
Is it Johnson? And then Carlos Lozano.
Yeah, Carlos. Man, those three actors were awesome. Yeah, I love those. All three of those are so good. Wendell's one of my favorite, and Carlos.
Carlos is phenomenal.
Yeah, I fucking love Carlos.
So
the first day I saw him, I was like, I love that guy. And then Wendell.
And I don't know if he's acting or if he's just that weird.
I don't know. I don't want to know. Like, don't blow the illusion for me.
Yeah.
It would really bum me out if he was like a totally normal dude in real
he's
life.
Like, this is all just a joke.
Yeah. And then Wendell, that was the commercial where we comped his head onto the body of a llama.
Yeah.
And he played the fucking funniest llama. Because Wendell, what I love about Wendell is he just has a whatever, man, vibe. And when you're a llama walking around in a Sears store, and that was fun to shoot because we brought a real llama into a Sears.
Did you?
Yeah, that was open.
Oh, I love that.
And and everybody's walking by, like having a double take, like. Is that a llama walking along the mattress section?
And they told Chris, they said, you don't need a real llama. And he's like, yeah, we need.
Fuck yeah, we need a real llama. Yeah.
What do you mean we don't need a real llama?
Yeah, don't CGI me on this.
Yeah.
I want that llama.
This was post Pandy, so
post Pandy.
This is
pre
Pandy.
This is pre Pandy.
Yeah.
So llamas were okay.
But then there's like a commercial like Tropicana nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I love that.
That's one of my favorites ever.
That's probably my favorite from all the ones that I was watching.
You know what I learned from that is we actually shot way more than made it in the edit. And you realize after you put in so many nothing jokes, it does get old. Like we shot enough because we thought, on the web, we'll make it like a short film. And so like we're going to do like a 3-minute version that just was all over the factory. The whole concept was a company, U.S. Allied Nothing, that provides all the nothing that Tropicana puts in the orange juice because they don't put anything in the orange juice. But, the whole conceit is that they're a whole industry, and they're very proud, and they come from a long line. Like, we even start the commercial with a historical photo
Yes,
of
I
them
love it.
doing nothing. We brought in a whole bunch of shelves that are empty in the background. And then in the open area, it's just people meandering and bored, and a forklift carrying nothing, and then the CEO guy is just like so proud of the historical heritage of doing nothing. But when we edited it, we just realized once you do the first few nothing jokes, people are like, all right,
We got it.
I got it.
Yeah.
So it ended up at the right line.
I mean, I think to do short format really, really good is really fucking hard.
It's really hard.
Yeah.
Really hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You have such little, and to do it to where it feels like you have a full experience, right?
Yeah.
It's really difficult and something you do really well, really well.
Agreed.
Well, thank you guys.
Yeah.
You're embarrassing me.
It gets down to like the specificity of every single thing within the frame, right? It's
Yeah.
like the receptionist, the minute she goes, it's like just the little wave and he's there.
It's the little bits. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's just so succinct.
My favorite part about that commercial is Easter eggy, because my friend Dan, who has this expression all the time, he just showed up to the shoot, just like, hey, I'm by. I heard you guys shooting. I was like, yeah, come on by. And he showed up with this thermos that's like this big. Yeah, like a huge thermos, because he just really needed whatever was in it, that coffee or whatever. And he just was sitting there while on the set doing this. And I'm like, this guy'd be the most perfect nothing employee of all time. So I said, go to wardrobe and have them dress you up. And the wardrobe for that was like faux, shitty, late 60s business, like kind of retro-y. And so he went and he came out and, and he had the button up, the short sleeve and the bad tie. And I was like, this is the funniest shit I've ever seen. Suddenly I was so obsessed with him as a background character more than like the main bits. And so he's in damn near every single shot as like a Where's Waldo.
No.
And the funny thing is I first realized it when we're shooting that scene with where she's like this. That was one of our first scenes. And the AD, Darren, he's like, do you want any crossers in the back?
Shout out, Darren.
Darren, what's up, my boy? He goes, you want any crossers in the background or whatever? And I was like, wait a minute, they don't do shit. I said, put Dan in there and have him just leaning against the wall sipping that giant mug and have him just look bored as shit. And he goes, all right. And Darren didn't even have to give him direction. No one did. He just said, hey, Dan, go lean against that wall.
Go wait over there for us.
Go lean against that wall and enjoy your mug. And he's like, oh, okay. And so if you watch that scene, watch it again, look in the background.
He's back.
That's Dan with almost zero direction. Just. And then when we're in the warehouse, I put in the background. I actually did a close-up of him where he was just sitting there just drinking that mug, looking around bored as shit. And when we do the interview with the CEO and he's like in his office, Dan, I have him on the edge of that window out to the thing, just drinking his mug in the edge. And right before the edit goes away, I gave him a cue to like beam the camera. So right before the edit goes away, you see Dan literally look into the window and look right into the camera.
I got to go back and watch it again now.
So he's the fun little like extra layer in the background.
I watched it like 3 or 4 times. I love it so much.
Thank you. That was written by Bill Cochran, Patrick Murray, formerly the Richards Group.
Your lead actor is fantastic.
Yeah.
The 2 dudes in the hallway, when he walks over and they're just like stood there.
Those guys are great. The second guy who goes nothing, when the CEO goes, hey, what are you guys doing? They're like, nothing. Those are my best guys. The second kid, I don't know, has ever acted in anything. I just wanted people that were not normal actors. Like I wanted people that just
Like he's got like that checkered suit on, blazer on or whatever.
Awesome.
It's like ill-fitting.
So the other kid who was in it, I was told he literally shovels horse poop out at the Fort Worth stockyard. Like that's his thing. And he just wanted to make it and he didn't get a lot of jobs. I was like, this guy's my star, put this guy in here. And he was perfect. He was really good.
So how did you audition for those moments?
That job was one where we didn't do like heavy casting. It was one of those where the client didn't get it the way we wanted, and so it got almost no but. Like when Bill and Patrick first wrote it, we were like throwing a parade. We're like, this is one of the greatest concepts. It writes itself. And the client didn't really get it. They're just like, all right, what? I'll give you a little bit. And so the casting, it was like almost shot like an indie thing. And so it was just, my request was just find me the weirdest fucking people you can. And even if, the acting's not bang on, that's the whole point.
Right.
It's supposed to be,
Yeah.
it's supposed to feel kind of
But that's the hard, to do nothing is, and to
hard.
hold frame, right? Is
And to have an actor stand there and be like, okay, your audition is you do nothing.
And to get the tone and the joke of that.
Yeah.
Did you have auditions?
No, but we did have ringers though, because Bill Cochran did the improv, the ad libs.
Yeah.
And so he brought the whole ad libs team,
Yeah.
and we just put them in different roles, and they were the ringers. We knew they'd be good, right?
Yeah.
And then the little filler characters were more people that I just said, find me the people that never get jobs because there's something too awkward about them. Just bring them in, and I would just find roles for them. And a lot of those things we rented out this kind of factory place, and we just made up shit as we went, just, what if we do something in here? Or that's funny. Let's do something over here.
And Dan.
And Dan.
And then let's put Dan in everything.
Yeah.
But that's interesting too. And I think sometimes the better spots come from when there's not so many eyeballs on it and not so much.
Maybe one of my other favorite commercials, a Bridgestone commercial that the late Brittany Surratt also wrote. We were out in LA, North LA. There's like these beautiful rolling hills that look like an Enya video. It's like rolling grass hills of Ireland, where you just want to like dance
We're
on the
have
tops.
To put a ton of footnotes, Falcon Crest.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's somewhere northish of LA, off the 5. I believe.
Up by
It's in Burbank, really.
No, probably up by
Or the
Six
101.
Flags. Up by
Yeah. Is that 101 or 5?
That's the 405 to the 5, I think.
Ventura.
The 5.
Is it Ventura County?
Yeah, towards
no,
that.
it's
don't-
Valencia.
Yeah.
No, that's 134. Okay,
All right.
go.
Anywho, we were out there to shoot a Bridgestone spot.
Sorry.
We're gonna get so much shit from people.
Yeah, everybody in LA is like, what the fuck? Did you guys even ever?
It's the 405 to the 101 to the 5 to the 110.
Motherfucker. Yeah.
Damn, bro, you took. All right. Anyways, we're out there shooting a Bridgestone commercial about being green, eco-friendly tires, blah, blah, blah. So the main script was very kind of expositional, very client-guided. I want to make sure to get all these points across, So, this is during The Scientist. Remember the 3 scientists?
Yep.
Here at Bridgestone.
Yep.
It was that.
I remember. I think you cast it through Gabrielle. I remember doing the.
Yeah, probably.
Yep.
And so those 3 actors are fucking great dudes too. So anyways, they're doing that thing, blah, blah, blah. And the commercial's fine. It was just, it was just very on the nose, but the script that Brittany also submitted was brilliant. And the client was like, I don't know if it gets all the points across, but I loved it so much more. So we finished early. And we had probably 45 minutes of sunlight left before it went below these beautiful Enya hills. And the client left to the airport, and like half the people left, and it was just me and Brittany and the art director, Sarah, and the actors. And I said, man, we're sitting here with a crew for 45 minutes till the sun's gone. I was like, I can shoot your other concept if no one busts my balls and let me just direct it the way I would do it myself. I had 45 minutes. If no one busts my balls, I can shoot that whole commercial while we're here, So the agency producer talked to the guys about whatever the SAG stuff, blah, blah, blah,
right.
if it airs, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Took care of all that. And the concept is the Ecopia tire was like this natural animal, and it was supposed to be like a BBC documentary, where it was like that whispery thing, here out in the wild is the Ecopia bridge, that kind of thing. And that was basically the concept. And it didn't even matter what they said. She had a little bit of the expositional about the Ecopia or whatever, how it saves money and whatever. But everything else, we just put it out there, and we had the guys improvise like with binoculars and stuff. And everything that they said was them just making up stuff. Except one of the guys kept making up really inappropriate jokes. And I kept laughing, and I'm sitting there holding the camera. I said, Jerry, the sun's going down, bro. Give me something relevant to the commercial that other people can see. He goes, all right. So then he gives me like story-based stuff and knocked it out so quick. And then that one I edited on spec because they never finished it out. So I just cut it at my house, and I threw in I comped in Kilimanjaro in the background so it felt African, and I got those African trees with the flat tops, and I comped that, and so it didn't look like the rolling hills of LA. It looked like Africa. But to your original point about, just like shooting stuff really fast when you don't have to go through the whole process. That's one of my favorite commercials. And that was just kind of the parents are gone. Let's just shoot something real quick. It's still one of my favorites.
I know for the intro, we're going to put Tropicana. And for the end music, it's going to be Enya.
Enya. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That'll carry it.
Today's theme music.
All I ask is do not do Orinoco Flow.
That's probably my least favorite Enya song.
Yeah, that one's banned from my life.
But she's got a lot of good others.
She has so many club bangers. It's insane.
Yeah. Well, I don't know about club bangers. That's more a Bjork thing.
Well, you're going to the
and
wrong clubs.
For me, was more like, sitting on top of our apartment building and on Melrose and Western, smoking a fat joint and being in the hot tub because it was always on the roof.
Yeah.
And then you're just like blissing out over the.
For me, it's riding
sky.
white horses through the hills of Ireland. Back when I used to do that with a white linen shirt and my abs.
Yeah.
Just
his hair was
flowing in the
his hair
wind.
was real
Blowing.
long.
Yeah.
Your Orinoco flow.
Those are my memories of Enya.
Well, so tell me about when it goes wrong. Tell me about some like audition situations where you're not winning. Like the client isn't happy or
I honestly don't think in the 23 years I've done commercials it's ever been that way.
This is why you're successful.
Like, no,
It said it in your bio.
I feel I'm really trying hard to think of any adverse casting experience.
Is there any casting experience where it was like you really wanted that person and the client really wanted someone terrible?
Yeah, a few times. Not a lot, but a few times. But you know what? The weird part of me is I don't get bent out of shape about it. Well, first of all, it's their commercial. It's not my commercial, right? I am just an advisor. Commercial director is nothing but what is it called? When you ask for advice, something, there's a role for that. Consultant, thank you. Directors are just consultants, commercial directors. And so I can consult my opinion, but if they feel about somebody else, I have consulted. Therefore, my new responsibility is to take who they have chosen and make it shine. So I actually don't mind the challenge if I feel like, oh, that person did not do good. And I get that they like something visually about them, but it'll be a challenge on set. I look forward to bringing something out that wasn't there. Don't get me wrong, when there's a great actor who's amazing and I can just say, hey, you get the joke, try some shit, when it's that easy to direct and they do some stuff and I go, cool, do that, but less of this, more of that. That's fun, but it's not a challenge. But if you have somebody who was, maybe not the best and they come in and you have to give them a little acting 101 about stuff, but at the end of the day, you get a great performance. To me, that was almost more fun in the day, and the client's
I know when
happy.
you like somebody because it's just minor little, it's just like, can you just kind of look a little bit or do very small direction? I'm like, okay, he likes this guy or likes this person.
Yeah, because I'm getting into the details.
Yeah, get into details. And they're usually just minor variations of what they're doing.
Right. So you start with broad strokes. Yeah. Do you get the joke? And I mean joke even if it's not a comedy.
Get the moment, get the beat.
Right. Every script has an angle. There's something where you are doing original that's a unique view on life that is tied into the product. Do you get that? And can you help me with that?
Here's something to think about that I think is to tell people is that everyone's always trying to, I think, do what they think that script, the choice is. Everyone's doing the same thing as opposed to filtering their own, making their own choice and doing it their own way, but also staying in relationship to what that moment is. But most people tend to pick a broad, general idea. And it's crazy to watch 100 people come through and do it the same way.
Yeah, it's funny because I wonder about that. And I don't feel like it's lack of imagination. I think they're just playing the numbers, right? Because there's still so many commercials. I would like to think none of my commercials are that soulless, one-dimensional thing that I personally can't stand. I love it when commercials have some sense of authenticity, even if we do a weird, out of normal concept. I want to look at that person and feel like that's how they are in their real life. They're not playing commercial acting.
Yeah.
I've used it when we've done more product-y stuff, where a woman will come in as mom role of kids, and then they play that 80s cereal commercial mom that's fake and one-dimensional. Hey, guys, how are we doing? Blah, 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 And I'm just like, hey, Deborah, when you're at home...
Shout out, Deborah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. All Deborahs and Deborahs.
Name's Deborah.
My name's Deborah. I'll say, is that how you talk to your family at home? And she's like, no. And I was like, how would you say it to your real kids? Hey guys, will you mind not doing that?
But where does
cool.
That,
will
where
you
does
do
that
that,
come
please?
from? Where does that come from though? Everyone comes in and does this broad commercial.
I think,
like,
yeah.
like, have you guys watched TV in the last 20 years? They don't
Right.
do that anymore.
But they'll
But
do
they
it.
do that.
Yeah.
They,
I mean,
they
I guess.
do
They
that.
do?
And I
Okay.
think you feel like you are in some way obligated to do that because you can't be as unique as you would in like, you know, the broad strokes of a film where you can breathe and it's not about timing and all of that sort of punctuation of delivery of this thing that has to appeal to everyone.
I do experience that where we go and we cast something and we're like, we're making this, you know, Woody Allen film, right? And then you see the commercial and you're like, nope.
That's
not
that you made a Tide commercial. Like it, you know, like and I think too, there's a lot of like Tide commercials that are very much about like, you know, sexy shots of the Tide bottle of detergent.
Mm-hmm.
And then every now and then you get one that's like, that was fucking quirky and funny. You
Right.
know?
I mean, that's
And
what I think a lot of yours are.
I do too. I think a lot of yours are like that. But I think most of us actors go in thinking,
we're going to make a Tide commercial.
I'm not
right?
going to do quirky and funny. I'll never get the job.
You go in, you go, I got to do Deborah.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. However, to be fair, it's all about this whatever your layer above you communicating the rules down.
Yeah.
Right. So if you have a commercial that's not try Tide, you know, that's only that way. It's not necessarily because the creatives wanted it that way or the director wanted it that way. It's just that's the rule set that the client wants for this thing.
Yeah.
It could be their opinion. I don't know. But for example, if people come in and play the serial Saturday Morning Mom, it could be them just going, hey, until you give me direction, I'm going with the safe option.
Yes.
So part of the job of the
It's
director.
the safe option.
That
That's what it
happens
is.
a lot, I think.
So part
as
of
an actor.
directing and casting directing is setting the rules of the world.
Yeah.
You know, so sometimes like when you have me write a little paragraph to send to them to do their first auditions, my thing is not only here's the goal and here's some ideas, but you don't have to follow them as long as you hit the goal your way. And don't be over the top. Don't try too hard. Do it as if you're not on camera. You know, like I'm going to set the rules of the universe. So they come in and they feel free because each actor could say, I hate playing that cheesy. I wish I could just be myself.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I want to let them know you can't.
You can't be yourself.
You can.
But I think a lot of your spots are like that. And like a lot of HEB is like that. And it's like, I like these relatable, quirky characters. But you don't always know that, you know, the actor, we're lucky if we get boards, I feel like, you know, to see a
for sure.
visual.
You guys have to come in and just pick something out of but a lot
It's
of
like
times
you're
a lot
watching
of times,
a
though,
football game
we're
and
doing
you get excited.
But we're doing callbacks. He tells me, I come out of the room, tell you guys.
I'm not in the group he's about to describe.
And then you guys come in,
Yes.
do it completely different.
Yeah.
He looks at me and he goes, I just told you to tell them.
Yeah.
And I go, I just told them.
Yeah.
And then I go back out and I go, again,
Yeah.
this is what we're doing.
I know how you feel because that's how it is on set sometimes.
Yeah.
Because the sound man doing their job, whenever I walk up to them, they kill their mics so that we have a private conversation. I tell sound man, I have nothing to hide. I'm not going to say anything. Leave the mics on. I want everybody in Video Village to hear the conversation I'm having with the actor. Because sometimes I will be like, throw the rock, Mitch. That's from an SNL skit that I love. Just throw the rock, Mitch. Just throw the rock. And they're like, I got it, man. It's easy. Just throw the rock. I got it. I'm not an idiot. And then you roll and they're just like, throw the rock. Throw the rock. And then eventually, you know, agency will come over. Hey, man, I was thinking, what if you tell them to just like the dude? I've said this in 20 languages. I've demonstrated.
Yeah.
I've used metaphors. I've used all the tricks. You know,
We just watched the documentary Throw the Rock together.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
I don't know. It's almost like sometimes it's almost too focused that maybe an actor gets a wall up and gets insecure and doesn't feel like they can move in any sort of creative way. And so they get stuck in that pattern no matter what you say. And then
Yeah, to me, directing actors, I want them to feel as free as a bird, non-judged, all those things. When I hear stories, usually through agency people, about directors who lose their shit or get impatient or get crabby when things aren't right, like as a demonstration of whatever power or whatever. To me, I'm like, they're only screwing themselves, because once you spook the deer,
Yeah.
you know, like
Once they're in their head, yeah, it's
they're
downward
gone.
spiral. They're gone. Yeah,
They're
yeah.
gone.
Oh, yeah.
And you are not going to end the day with what you want.
Nope.
I keep a very safe space with actors. And even if they're totally
Even
not,
is a safe word. No.
yeah, parachute. Even if they're messing it up over and over, I will, even when I tell them to do, like, give them something else, I will slightly alter my thing to not let any shame come out. You know, I'm just like, cool, you nailed that perfect. I have a new idea when it's literally the thing I've been saying for 10 times, but then I like,
We're going to do another thing with the rock. We're going to throw this rock.
Yeah.
But we're going to throw it slightly different. We're going to let go of the rock.
right.
Yeah.
We're going to let go of the rock and like a velocity towards that wall.
We're going to call it throwing.
You know what I mean? So like, I make sure, almost like a therapist session, they're always in a good mood. They feel safe that I'm not no one's going to lose their shit. That, you know, when they have the cameras all on them, that, you know, I want them to feel as loose and non-judged as possible, no matter what their performance is. At the end of the day, I have to take responsibility for the choice, whether they were my choices, the agency's choice, the client. At the end of the day, right, they're my actors to deal with, and I want them to succeed as much as they want to succeed. You know, and to allow them to be in a creative space and not I don't want to look like an idiot or get yelled at
And just
space.
the downward spiral of like, their insecurity. Just, I mean, I know, and they just think they can't do anything right. And like you said, they get paralyzed. But also, I tell actors, I'm like, if no one's saying anything to you and they're just moving along, you are doing great.
Yeah.
If they're keep talking to you, you're not doing so good.
Oh, dude. Yeah. Like when I've done the TXU spots, Alex Ashbaugh, their TXU, you know, if you're in Texas, you know the TXU guy. He's great. He's a machine, and I don't bust his balls at all. I mean, I sit there, you know, with my reading glasses and my old man's, and I just sit there and I hit the lines, and I'm like, and he does it perfect. I'm like, cool, hit this word harder. Got it. Next time, do this. All right, hit the intro a little harder. It's the first line of the commercial. Give me that welcoming tone, and he nails it right away. I mean, him and I just blaze through shit. You know, and I'm not busting his balls.
That's a very specific skill.
Yeah.
For an actor.
But the point is, like, if you're good, let's knock this out.
Yeah.
Let's try options. And especially I can get options immediately. I don't have to sit and have a philosophical conversation with a good actor, you know.
Yeah.
Imagine you're a butterfly,
Yeah.
you know. And I can just hit them with a quick analogy and like, got it. And then they nail it, you know?
Yeah.
And then if I'm up there teaching you like acting 101 about projection and this and that and whatever, then it's going to be a slow day.
So talk about how difficult, because you do stuff with Shaq and you do stuff with the Spurs, you do stuff with the Texans.
That's another great spot, the Spurs.
The Spurs stuff is awesome.
I love that one.
I've shot that since 2005. I've shot, I think, every single Spurs commercial for HEB since 2005.
The one with the jalapeno poppers.
Oh, yeah.
I love it.
That line
that kills
me and Tony Parker made up on the spot. The last line about, does that sign say cooking with Timmy? I think in the script it said, why you got to be like that, Tim? And the client said, you know, think of something else. And so the writer was like, what was wrong with it? Wanted to kind of argue what was wrong with it. And I thought, well, I have all the Spurs staring at me and I don't want to wait for a creative session. So me and Tony Parker through the years just had, like, he's a very sweet, open, friendly guy. And him and I would kind of riff on stuff together a lot. Like we had like a fun little creative thing going. And wasn't my idea. The production designer added that sign that said cooking with Tony. Right. And they just added it. And I was sitting there looking at Tony and I'm looking at the sign. I was like, what would my smart ass say if I was Tony? And I said, hey man, what if you bust his balls about that sign not being his show, it's your show? And he goes, oh yeah, I like that. Let's try that. And I was like, all right, well, while you guys figure out the line, we're going to shoot this real quick. And Tony, one take, what the best part that Tony did, which is and shout out to the editor for letting it sit. There's this like long pause where Tony's just like, does that sign say cooking with Timmy?
Yeah. So
you know?
True. Yes.
And so it all just, you know, those are those things where you're like, you don't know.
Yeah.
You don't know.
They're all so good though. Like I mean, how did you get such great performances out of
difficult spot,
them?
right? So you usually only have an hour with them, right? It's definitely not the focus of their life is probably the commercial, right? And so they show up and they're like, what do you want me to do? You know? And so he has to craft and sort of, I think, get performance, and it's not like he gets this time with them.
No. So what? It's like comedy gold.
No, whenever I shoot the sports stuff, especially like the HEB commercials. So like the Texans we did JJ Watt for a while when he was there, and the Spurs since 2005. What else? Astros. I do all the Astros stuff.
Yeah, Astros, and then the Shaq stuff. Which Shaq
I do.
Shaq is very much a showman, though. Like all of the Spurs and that.
Yeah, Shaq I do.
Jalapeno popper spot. I don't imagine.
Yeah, Shaq's not for HEB. He's for Epson USA.
Well, he's for Epson. He's for.
Yeah. What is he not? And that agency is the friendly, creative family over at 31,000 feet. Yeah, great
folks.
Group of people. Great folks. So we do the Epson America stuff with them, and that's with Shaq. Shaq is a whole story with it himself. I won't go into it. He's one of the sweetest dudes on the planet, but he's doing it Shaq's way.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I love Shaq's very clear feedback. Hey, man, what if you did it? All right, we're not doing that.
Good idea, Chris. We're going to do it this way.
Yeah. No, I love Shaq. He's one of the sweetest, nicest dudes, and the guy is smarter than everyone in the room. You know, I always say this about the guys, the sports people I work with. Obviously, they're athletic, they have athletic ability, but when you work with them, you realize they're really stars because they're so fucking smart. Tim Duncan has got to be one of the smartest dudes I've ever been around in my life. You know, the guy's ability to remember small details is insane. I remember the first time I shot with him in 2005. I walked in a room and he was sitting there eating a sandwich. We got him. And I was like, hey, Tim, I'm Chris. And so let me give you lay of the land and what we're doing. And I sat there and I gave him all this direction and stuff. He literally never said a word. He just sat there eating the sandwich. And I was like, we good? And he just sat there staring at me. I was like, all right, see you on set. And I walk out and somebody goes, how'd it go? I was like, no idea. And but we went out there. He listened to every fucking word I said.
Like photographic memory or something.
Yeah, and delivered flawlessly. And then I don't really watch sports, but I was watching a game on Spurs on TV, and I realized, oh, that's how he is with Pop. Like, it's not me. It's just, like, what does he have to say? Like, he's a very efficient guy. He's like, if I don't have anything to say, why they say? Yeah. But I would watch him on the sidelines. He'd go in, and Pop would sit there and give direction to everybody, and Tim just, like, says nothing and walks in, delivers exactly what it, and that's how he is. I could hit him with like 10 notes and he'll just stare at me. And I knew that our relationship evolved over the years because I shot with Tim like, I don't know, 12 something years in a row. I knew it evolved when he'd be like, got it.
Yeah. Added a couple
You're
words.
like, me and Tim are like this.
Yeah.
Oh, to show you how tight I am with Shaq, I've been directing him for 2 years. And I couldn't do this Shaq job a few weeks ago because I was on a different job. But the agency told me a funny story. They took the director who was shooting and he was going to introduce the other director to Shaq. And Shaq goes, "Where's the other guy?" And I'm like, "Yo, I'm the other guy."
Yeah.
Me and Shaq. I'm the other guy. Yeah. He usually calls me Alamo Heights because him and I are the same age and we both lived in San Antonio.
Yeah.
So and then our writer Marshall went to, ironically, not Marshall High School. I think he went to Churchill. So he'll sometimes call us Alamo Heights and Churchill.
Nice.
So, or he'll call me Spielberg. He just calls all the directors Spielberg.
So are there qualities that you're always looking for in an actor, or does it vary spot to spot? I mean, like, you've got a guy like Scoot McNairy who clearly has something, or at least I feel like sometimes you get on a tear.
She mentioned Scoot. We talked to Scoot the other day.
Like, you're the popular, like, for a while there when I was booking a lot, it was like, you know, hip mom. It was all like that hip mom era. And then that kind of died away. And then, like, a friend of mine also had a run of lots of commercials where you just kind of, you fit right into that thing that all of the marketing is like really soaking up.
For me, the specs come from the agency, which I'm sure they collaborate with the client on, you know, mom, 35, not to this, a little of this, you know. I have nothing to do with those specs, and we adhere to the specs. In fact, half time, I don't even know what the specs are.
Yeah, they come to me.
Because it comes to the producer. She sends it to John. And then like Michelle, my producer, will be like,
Shout out Michelle.
Michelle, my girl.
Tony, Darren.
Deborah.
No, Michelle.
Come on.
That's the sugar crew.
That's the sugar fam.
Yeah.
My girl Deborah.
Deborah. She's
Deborah.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of times I don't even know what specs are till John tells me, because like I'll have a quick conversation with him before you guys do your initial
Call.
first round,
Yeah.
yeah, whatever y'all call it. It's been 23 years. I don't even know what it's called.
I have one guy says, you sitting in the breakout? You got the breakout going out?
What?
Yeah.
The breakout.
Yeah, so I'll get on the phone call with John, and I said, all right, you've seen the specs and the script. What's your plan? And then I'll criticize it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I don't,
So,
spec-wise,
like-
I don't care. It's whatever they want. However, what I look for as a director
Yes.
is I probably look for intelligence, because even if it's a silly thing, I want to see somebody who's intelligent as a person, who can mind meld on a higher level
Yeah.
and play goofy or dumb or whatever. I want to talk to somebody who's, that's understanding the concept, that's thinking ahead, that has more layers than just tell me where to put my hand. You know what I mean? So I personally look for intelligence, and then creativity, obviously, to just kind of wing and mess around and stuff. So when an actor comes in like that, I care less about what spec they are, what trend they are. I don't give two shits about the trends. I just want an actor where it's like a blind date. You feel the resonance and the vibes, if I can use some more hippie terms, where you just go, that person I want on set. I want to hang out with that person. I want to talk. I want to collaborate. And when I have a great actor, I don't feel like I'm sitting in the chair directing them. I feel like them and I are, as a team, creating something great that we're both proud of. And I love it when a great actor, and they're good, and I love to bring them over to watch playback, and they can direct themselves sometimes.
Yeah.
Sometimes the best direction is just say, hey, watch playback.
That helps me a lot on commercials, especially.
Yeah. Because what I'll do is I'll say, hey, watch, and I'm usually real quiet. I don't want to, make them feel self-conscious. I'll be like, hey, watch this. You got this weird, like, fidgety hand thing.
Yeah.
Just check. I just want you to see it.
Yeah.
And then also, I think that you can hit this a little harder. It's feeling a little. And then when they see it, they're like, oh, yeah, I see it. I got it. And they'll go back and, clean it all up immediately.
Because that kind of perfectionism I get in the commercial world, it's really important. That, like every hair, the shirt is ironed.
Mm-hmm.
Like those kind of things actually are really important in this really brief moment of burning this situation onto people's eyeballs.
Yeah.
It's like
I never noticed
that
those
one
details.
thing could just take you right out. Like it drives my mom's crazy, certain spots where the hair is just really bad.
I never noticed those details.
But I think that's why they get so specific, because it's like it's just such a microscope of a view of this scene.
Well, also you have the video village, it can be 10, 30 people all staring at a monitor, bored as shit, and they're staring at thing. Whereas I'm moving around, I'm talking to ADs and actors and DPs and production designers, etc. And I'll go in and obsess on certain things, the blocking of actors, objects, whatever, lighting quality, etc. But I'm not going to notice the gnat turd that's by the book in the background that's driving everybody crazy at Video Village. I don't.
Right.
There's also
I don't focus on those things.
A world of relationships in Video Village, which is your clients and your ad agency people. And I feel like there's a lot of times people are saying stuff because they're like, I haven't said anything.
They feel like they have to
while.
contribute.
Yeah, I have to contribute. I'm here.
I heard someone once say it's deciding to have an opinion before actually having an opinion.
Yeah.
You're like, damn, I need to have an opinion here.
Yeah.
But whatever, I guess we all do it.
And then kids, like,
oh, kids,
the best, the best,
the best.
how
Love
the
me some
hell
kids.
do you do the kids?
Again, I look for smart but non-precocious kids. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Advice to parents when they send their kids in: don't give them a bunch of one-liners and shit. It's just, it immediately makes me discount wanting them on set or to have their parents on set.
Yeah.
Just have a kid the way I want an actor to come in. Don't be method. Don't do weird hacky tricks to get noticed or be remembered. You want to be remembered, be a good actor and pay attention and like think about the script and help me out, you know. But sometimes kids will come in and have some little shtick. What's your name? My name's hey bud. And I'm like, oh, here's his mom talking.
Yeah.
You know, I'm like
gada gada gada.
yeah. And so if if I have 3 kids that are in my top pile, I'll be like, oh, that girl was real chill. She understood. There wasn't like weird shit going on her mom. Like that's going to be the person I want, you know, because the last thing I think is I want a kid who's all like, you know, like overacting and trained by the mom to be like, hey,
Yeah.
you know.
It's a good point though to help you out. Like, don't come in and press me. Don't come in and try to show me. Like, help me make this thing.
That is a really good
Like, be in service.
perspective.
I'm in service of this.
Yeah.
Of these people of this script. You guys be in service. Let's all come in and
Yeah.
help me.
Yeah.
To make this, as opposed to
That's a really
I'm going to
good
show you, or
perspective.
I'm gonna make an impression on you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna bring in a loaded pistol. What? Don't do that.
Oh,
Or I'm
Lord.
just going to be what you want.
And also, don't say you can ride a bull if you can't ride a bull.
Don't say you've jumped out of a plane if you can't jump out of a plane.
Does every 8x10 have fencing or horseback riding?
Yes. Yes.
I never look at 8x10.
we
you
have to
hand me that
look
shit, I
I-
flip it upside down.
Yeah. No, I haven't looked at a headshot for years.
I haven't taken a
Decades.
headshot in years. Well, okay, so with this new fucking self-tape
Mm-hmm.
Zoom audition callback malarkey, I mean, are you pivoting in some way that you can still get what you want, or is it just so much more of a challenge to
Pivoting in a way that I hate casting more than ever.
yeah.
Meaning the process.
Right.
The self-tapes, I don't mind. Those are fine. The first round. It's the callback
Being
where
on the
I'm not in
computers.
person on a couch
Yeah.
with my colleagues from the agency,
Yeah.
having one-to-one, talking about the spot, workshopping actors, being able to get up. You mentioned this, being able to get up and talk to the actor or do a little line read. Because sometimes when you do a thing, they pick up your vibes from your expression. Or sometimes if they're not getting, I literally just stand next to them. I'm like, yeah, you're just doing this kind of thing. Like, oh, okay, I get it. You know, instead of like having to describe a thing and then whatever you have to, especially if it's like a hard thing to describe, then you
Yeah.
have to describe it all day to like 28 people, you know, to where you've gone like down the
For
heart
20
of
Yeah.
you've gone up the heart of darkness until you just don't know what life is about anymore.
Yeah.
And you've
Yeah.
explained the same
Fuck
thing.
off. We do it 10 hours.
I can't
I don't-
imagine.
The first round.
I don't
I
know
think-
how you do it. I've said it a
John's
million
like, that's
times.
the job.
Yeah, you don't
I
understand.
was like, you're a different breed. I get that casting's important. I get it. As every fucking conference call, somebody
Wait,
somewhere, hey guys, let's for real. Casting is key. Casting is key.
It is.
So I get it. Casting is key.
Yeah.
Somebody somewhere's got to say it. Not like people we shoot with recurring, but if
Right.
you're ever like a new relationship between agency and director, somebody somewhere, it's like the person who didn't say anything in the back. Yo, casting. You know,
Yeah.
casting.
Casting's really important on this
Yeah.
one.
Yeah. Okay.
Casting's really
Hey, on
important.
this
Okay.
one,
Yeah.
casting is key. But so despite casting being key, I got it. Casting is key. I hate the process. It's like getting the flu shot. You know what I mean? It's the thing.
It's really
It's a
gnarly.
thing that I need the stupid flu shot, but you think I like going to the doctor and going through the experience.
I mean, honestly, you have to imagine what it's like. The actor, I'm like in my bedroom where just this one wall is, I've
Yeah.
taken the pictures down. It's gray. The lighting's here or whatever. It's Hey Joe. And I'm in some waiting room,
Yeah.
you know, and it's just a bunch of different names changing. Or then every now and then I see another actor and I'm like, oh God, can they see me? You know, there's all this fucking weird techno weirdness shit. And then
Yeah.
all of a sudden it's like, boom, you're in the room. Okay.
Yeah.
But really it's like a bunch of dark squares. You know there's people there, and then there's maybe the director, and
Yeah.
then maybe casting or someone else is there.
Well, that's what I'm saying. It's awkward for everyone because
And then you're like, you know, your dog's over here, like you're not in their same world. And then you
Yeah.
have to portray a completely different world that they just verbalize to you.
right.
And not only that, but it's like your phone. So you have to remember when I look over here,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
not good. I should look this way, even though they're over here. I can see them. It's
Yeah.
just a fucking mess. Like,
Well, yeah, but even me as the director, especially if I work with an agency I don't know, and I still haven't even met them, and now they're just hearing me as this voice on a Zoom all day, or your Hey Joe or whatever. It's just weird versus just being in a room. And also when you're in the room, even if you're not talking about the spot, you know, in hour 3, I think you're done talking about the spot. I think we've covered the ideas. Now you're just getting to know each other. You're feeling vibes out, you know, whereas
Yeah.
on the thing, it's just,
it doesn't happen.
it's the awkward silence, you know, and through the chat, you just see a or whatever. And
Yeah.
it's just like weird for the actor. It's weird for everyone
And then
versus
it's
just being in the room.
And then it's just gone. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh, yeah, I'm alone in my house. That's right. That's weird.
Yeah.
And
Don't get me wrong. I love the actors. It's not the actors. It's just the redundancy of the process. You know what I mean? It's like you go in and it's fun for like the first 6, 7 people. And then once you've reached like the 100th person.
But it also used to be before 2008, 2009, we'd call back 5 people.
Pre-pandy.
We'd call back 4 people.
Yeah.
Right? Pre-pandy, in 08, before the crash, because after the crash, they started spending money again and everybody was just super hyper, like, scared, right?
And so now you call back a bunch of people?
Yeah, a callback used to be an hour long, and it used to be maybe your top 3. And you're like, it's between these 3 people. And now it's between 30 people.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know if it's fear, but sometimes when you have 3, 4 people putting their opinion and people just see things differently, you're going to get 3 or 4 different palettes of the available people. Also, there's some people that are just so sweet and nice. It's like they almost feel bad, like, oh, I want to give them a chance. But what I'd want to say is, well, if you don't think you're really going to use them, you think that they want to go find somebody to watch their kid and go through all this bullshit and go through this thing or whatever. Like,
thank you, Chris.
It's the same thing with me is like, if I have agency friends, don't do me a favor by putting me in a bid mix if I know you want to use so-and-so.
Yeah,
it's a ton of work for you.
Yeah. It's work and money, because there's cost to bidding. And,
dude, I used to love callbacks. I used to be like, it's a callback? Oh, we're only going to be here for an hour. I get my same rate.
I
was like, it's awesome.
Well, and then also it's like straight to director. It's like, great, here we go. Let's talk. Let's get to the nitty gritty meat of the thing, instead of having to go through all the different steps.
It literally went from like, it used to be it was a callback because we knew we were going to be in and out in half a day and I'm at the beach surfing.
Yeah.
And now it's like, it's a callback. We're going to be here for 12 hours.
2023 in general feels that way. It's so easy, just the click of a button, but everything is so much harder.
I mean, I'll call you to Dallas a couple times to come in and say hi to Chris.
Okay, yeah, that's right. I do remember the trips to Dallas and back. I should say.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I should say.
It's funny now because we'll try to do it in the room and people are like, can't make it.
Yeah.
Can I do virtual?
Okay, that's a good point.
Yeah.
I'm older now, but yeah, I remember many a trip to Dallas for
7-hour trip from Austin to walk in and be like, and be like, hi, I'm Deborah.
I did it so many times and then just right back on I-35, hating myself.
Yeah, both of you guys, the actor and the money grabber, are both a different breed because I personally, I don't know, especially if you lived in LA, traveling across the city, finding
brutal.
Parking at a place that has 0 parking.
Yeah.
Walking to do this thing where you have very low odds compared to, the amount of people, going back, getting the parking ticket.
Yes.
You're a different breed. I could not do it.
This is a true.
This man knows.
This is a true story. He lived in Pasadena, working in Santa Monica. If I didn't leave at the right time, almost 3.5 hours to get from Pasadena to Santa Monica in the morning.
Easy.
Yeah, easy, right? Yeah. I can now fly, land at LAX, get to the studio in Santa Monica in the same time. That used to take me to drive to get to work.
Because you fly from where?
From here. It's a 3-hour flight.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, right.
Mm-hmm. Believe that.
Yep. And I get the 2 hours on the way.
And you, right.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's right.
Or I sit in my house and I turn on Hey Joe.
Hey,
like again,
Joe.
there's some perks.
Yeah. You're loving it. You're loving it.
Yeah.
No, I still keep the studio. I'm paying for. I'm getting a new studio because I know everybody that we need it every once in a while.
Are we going back to old school casting?
I mean, I think it's going to be a hybrid, right? Tapes probably for the beginning, and then the callbacks will be a mix, right? Again, I don't think we're getting people out of Dallas or Houston to drive, But
yeah, I guess the advantage though, like if we shoot in Texas, is you're going to get more people if they can just zoom in versus travel, and then and sometimes you'll throw in people from out of state. Yep. They're willing to
get here
to do it.
But could you have in person as an option for those of us who
we do? But it's just, and it seems like every time we start trying to get back, then COVID spikes.
I know.
Dude, we should all do it in VR. So like in VR, we're all on the same.
Dude, I think
I'm just gonna AI myself.
No, do spatial computing. That's gonna be it.
Like
that will be it
with our ocular things.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yep.
Oh,
that will be it.
Yeah,
you'll be in the room. You'll be in the virtual room.
I'm already in a virtual room. I don't want to get more virtual.
Also,
I'm an actor.
Yeah, between actors, me and the agency can play golf in like some Scottish course somewhere.
God, yes.
You could be a head on a llama.
Yeah.
There you go.
As a director.
I want to be the head on the llama.
We'll do a little Beat Saber between actors. That'd be awesome. Just throwing out ideas.
Spiraling out of control.
I'm just consulting.
Yeah.
That's it.
All right. Well, what's going to become of us?
You're going to live in the virtual world.
No.
I mean,
Chris, don't make them put us there.
Where do you think everything's going in advertising? What do you think about that as far as that goes? I know everyone's...
It feels like a big
My
shift.
honest opinion, I'll tell you this. When I'm on set, like I was doing a shoot in Mexico last summer, usual film production set, billion crew people, lights everywhere, giant circus building the film part. And then the social team were two ladies from the agency, kicking ass over in a corner with their iPhone, and they'd borrow products off our table, whatever. And you'd see them over there having a blast, doing all their fun TikTok wipes, hitting things and swipings and all that stuff. And one of the crew members said something about the difference between their thing and our thing. And I said, hey, man, I don't know the numbers, but, their stuff very possibly gives, sells the same amount of shit as this stuff. And I'm willing to guess it costs less, Pretty sure.
As they're bringing in the dinosaur.
Right. Yeah. Pretty sure it costs less. And then I'm asked more and more and more to frame for social and this and that. And I get it.
Yeah, that's where the eyeballs are.
I don't have TV. I haven't had live TV in 5 years.
Me neither.
I say your TV is going to be your VHS eventually. I think ABC, NBC, CBS are all going to be.
See, so that's why we bring an 80s serial mom, is because we haven't watched an actual commercial in so long.
No, I watch like all the highfalutin award crap at the end of the year just to stay current or whatever and decide what I hate or like or whatever. Although I still think if you just stick to a good story, you don't really have to sit and write all the things, because I'm not trying to, like if it's 2004, I'm like, oh, I got to be the Napoleon Dynamite vibe everybody wants,
Yeah.
I've just never been that dude. Even when I came into it as a little young buck in 2000, 2001, everybody at the time was still doing the Matrix green bullshit or the swing tilt lenses or, and I was like, no, I'm just going to shoot clean film and stick to a good story and good acting. And so, I don't feel like I almost feel like the less I look at shit, the more it's just authentically me and trendy stuff. But I do at least try to look at the really good stuff and, stay current. But most of the time I look at it and go, kudos, very well done for that script. It doesn't apply to me.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, the script is the script. I'm not like your normal director where I have that one shtick, that one look, and I just put it on all the scripts.
Yeah.
I think it was because I did a movie first where some scenes are more lighthearted, some scenes are very dark, and throughout the movie and the character arc, you're going to have lighter moments and dark. And that's why I like shooting a bunch of different stuff. I'll shoot all the farmer stuff for HEB. It's very like real people, authentic, and I'm trying to bring the best out of the farmer who's nervous around all the cameras, and we make them feel real relaxed and get their personality to shine. But then, 3 days later, I'm doing the opposite. I'm doing a comedy spot that's very art directed, very acted, very, stylized. And it's just a matter of, well, what does the script want, and then you just work around that.
That must be fun, like for you to get to.
I like the variety.
Yeah.
I know some directors are really good at that thing that they're known for and do it great and do that thing better than I ever will. But at the same time, I'd rather just try different stuff. I think
you need like I need the sort of like short window. Like we're going to do something, do a ton of hard work, and then we're done with it. Like then we're on to the next thing.
Yeah. Us at Sugar, we have a very work hard, play hard thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like when we're on a shoot, we love to have a blast with the agency and client, have a good time. Tony's great at making sure everybody's having a good time, entertaining and all that. And when I'm on set, I'm serious as a heart attack. I never take for granted that client's paying. I mean, just a production company, it's hundreds of thousands that we then put into, that billion people on set and the cameras and all that. But they're also paying the agency, and then they're paying the SAG royalties, and then they're paying the airtime, which probably costs more than all the rest of it. So, and I realize that I'm spending that money within 1 day or 2 days or 3 days or whatever. And I never take that for granted. So no matter how much the night before we're all laughing, drinking scotch, whatever, that next day, not that I'm a, grump or whatever, but I take it very fucking serious.
I mean, can we go back to his bio?
Yeah, well, should I there's some more good stuff about your bio down here.
Oh, Jesus.
Favorite taco?
Favorite taco
Favorite
what is
right
it?
now.
But be honest, ChatGPT wrote that, right?
No,
I didn't. I put it
this
together.
guy gave it to me.
Oh, you're a sweetheart.
I took what I could get and then I made it.
You are a sweetheart.
In the ever-evolving landscape of advertising, Chris Smith
Oh my
stands
God,
tall
no.
as a visionary.
5'9".
Favorite taco right now?
What is your favorite taco?
Favorite taco. Well, again, they're all like my children. But let me throw out a few tacos.
Okay.
Shout out to Texas Honey Ham over in Westlake.
Shit.
That's my morning
Never
breakfast
had a
spot.
taco there.
Okay.
Love it. Fresh made, beautiful breakfast tacos, all on the grill. It's all hashed. I hate tacos where you have that one fatty piece of bacon.
I do too.
They make it crispy. They hash it up, and it's all mixed in with the potato guts and the eggs and all that stuff.
Okay. They make their own tortillas though.
Unknown. I'll ask. I go in there so often. I'm tight with all the boys.
I'm a little particular about you shouldn't sell tacos unless you've made your own tortilla.
I think you're right. I'll ask. I have not seen the tortilla machine.
No, but usually you can taste the difference.
It tastes great. It tastes like the fresh butter HEB tortillas from the bakery
At
that are amazing.
My HEB.
At my HEB. I'm Chris, and this is the whatever department at HEB. No more. No store does more.
We've
than my
picked up
HEB.
so many sponsors for the show today.
Yes.
The amount of times I've explained to fishermen and just people in the world back, when we did those signs campaign.
Yeah.
I'm like, all right, Bill. And I'd just show them. I was like, let me just show you what to do. It's weird timing, but I'm Bill, and this, look over the shoulder, look at the sign, is the vino department at HEB. Pause. No store does more than my HEB. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it a try. Tacos. Let's see. I haven't been to Taco Deli in a long time, but when I did, I loved that adobo chicken.
Yeah.
But I would add sour cream, and I would get the serranos toreados.
Yeah.
Grilled serranos. Cut that mess up, so then you get the heat of the serrano, and you get the nice coolness of the sour cream. And then that sauce on it's already good, so that was a banging taco. Let's see. In Dallas, I love the picadillo tacos at Fuel City.
Okay.
Down the road from where you cast sometimes.
Yep.
I mean, if you're in Dallas, everybody knows Fuel City. And what I love for breakfast there is get an egg and potato taco, but also get the picadillo, and then you just marry them together, and that's a feast.
I just want to do a whole show about
tacos?
him and tacos.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, all day. Dude, when I leave, I'm gonna be like,
You're just
there's 20 other fucking tacos I love, and I'm just blanking.
Megas? Anybody?
Yeah, I don't like complex migas. I usually more like the chilaquiles.
Chilaquiles.
Yeah.
Chilaquiles, more than migas.
Yes.
At the house, I make real simple migas sometimes. You take your corn tortillas, chop them into like little Frito-sized things, throw them in some oil, crisp them up, let the heat come down so you don't burn the egg, and then throw the egg up in there, and you just stir it all around and let it coagulate. And then to cool the egg down so it doesn't overheat, if you use HEB's that green sauce, and you pour that over the egg a little bit, adds all that flavor in it, and it cools it down so it doesn't turn rubbery. That's a good migas.
We have to do a whole show on tacos with Chris Smith.
Yeah.
Will you come on our show every week?
Yeah.
These are in a permanent position.
Yeah. Hey, if you have a food portion, I'll talk about it.
What any good restaurants
Let's
in
talk
Austin
about it.
lately?
Oh,
No.
I love it. Do what, John?
That was horrible. Any good spots lately? I'm trying to think. I just went to a couple that were good.
Oh, taco spot.
Or
I
just
thought you meant commercials.
no.
And I was
I thought he did too.
And I was like, they're all good.
No. No. Any new? Have you tried any new good tacos? I need to get out. I haven't been out lately.
Well, been going to Todos Santos a bit down in Baja,
Yeah.
and so that's my
Baja.
That's my new exploration zone to find some,
Todos is awesome.
some tacos there. A lot of good tacos there,
Yes.
especially at La Generala, the buffet. It's yummy. They have a nice chile de árbol salsa. It's very good. And they do make their own tortillas.
Oh, I would expect so.
Blue corn. Very
Nice.
yum.
Okay.
In Austin, probably, and I'm blanking. And I know there's a billion trucks.
Yeah.
The
There's
problem
so
is all the
many.
good trucks are on the opposite side of town for me,
Yeah.
and I don't like leaving my house if I'm not on a shoot.
Yeah.
So to have me leave the house and travel all the way to the opposite side of Austin, find parking, I'm just like, fuck that taco. It's good. But do you know
I'll
when
just make my poor man's chilaquiles and migas at home.
You know when I end up going to all the food trucks in Austin is we shoot in Austin, I don't know, 2-3 times a year randomly for different stuff. And it's then when I'm usually location scouting is almost always a house somewhere more east side than west side.
There you go.
And then when I'm over there in the location scout day, I said, yo, like every 3 houses, we got a food truck break because I got to hit all my spots.
There you go.
I've been following them on Instagram and today's the day.
Yeah.
It's going to be a feast.
I might ride
Taco
along. I might
Truck
ride along.
Tuesday.
Yeah. We'll take the show on
Yeah.
the road.
Oh, you know what? When I leave here, since where we are, I'm going to go south towards downtown. They have Pepe's Tacos, a little truck, and they do the birria tacos.
What?
What's that?
You know, birria. It's almost like a brisket stew.
Oh, yeah.
You know, where
yeah.
it's like based on like I don't know, ancho chilies, guajillo. I don't know, but it's like, you know, it's based on a broth that's like based on chilies, and then they slow cook, almost like a pot roast, but you know, with Mexican influence. And then they put that in a taco with cheese, and then some of that broth is a dipping
Oh,
sauce.
that sounds so good.
Okay, yeah, we got to go get lunch.
We got to
That's
go
it.
get tacos.
Yeah, I haven't even eaten yet today.
Yeah.
I actually had to set my alarm to wake up to make it here by noon.
That's the life of a commercial director.
Yeah, there you go.
That's why I got into the film business.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had people like get all like, why are you in the film business? Is it because of, you know, expressing yourself? I was like, no, fuck no. I can't get up every day to go to a job. Like,
It's like, I'm looking for the best chicharron taco.
exactly.
Well, dude, thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And thank you.
Thank you very much for being
Didn't
on
write a
our
closing.
show. Closing is like, you know, if you want to see some of these amazing spots that Chris has directed, go to sugarfilms.com.
No,
Go where?
I don't know who Sugar Films. It's sugartv.com.
There you go.
Sugartv.com.
Sugartv.com.
Yep. You'll
Click
see,
on the work tab.
you'll see spots,
You can see all of his amazing spots.
behind the scenes photos from the last 20 something years.
That would be great.
I do need to update that website. I don't think I've added a spot in 2 years, but you'd get the gist.
You get the gist, and they're all pretty great.
They're all awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Gil.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so thanks for being with us, Chris.
Thank you, y'all.
And then we'll lead you guys out with Inya.
Anything but Order Flow.
Anything but that.
Let's go get taco.
All right.
Peace.
Our show today was recorded in studio by the good folks at Record ATX. Check them out at recordatx.com. Our theme music is produced by Jonathan Price. You can check out some of the sounds he makes with his project, The Mid-Cities, on Spotify. Follow, subscribe, and smash that like button if you see one. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll see you guys next time.